Hey everyone, Steve here. Well, I'm finally going to do it. I'm finally going to take my YouTube channel seriously. As a lot of you know, I've been doing education for a very long time, and over that course of time, I've gotten a lot of questions in regards to mechanical design, electrical design, manufacturing, assembly, engineering, all sorts of things. And I've been working in this field for well over 30 years. So I have a wealth of knowledge and experience that I've gained over that time. And what I want to do now is I want to get into other aspects of design and engineering. So this video is talking about my past and introducing myself to the world. Stick around and find out how fun this roller coaster ride's been. Well, it all started when I was roughly 7 years old. And I got my first, I think it was a secondhand Lego kit. And this was in the day when it was literally just a bunch of pieces, different sizes and colors, stuck in a box. There was basically nothing else. There were no instructions. It wasn't some fancy kit to design a village or a Death Star or this transformer or whatever. It was just a bunch of loose pieces. And from that day forward, I was inseparable with my Lego kit. I was always building something: houses, cars, planes, rocket ships, animals, whatever I could think of, whatever I could mimic, I was building it. And eventually I got my first G.I. Joe dolls, little action figures, and I was then building fortifications and places for these guys to set up and do things to the other action figures, that type of thing. And from a very young age, I was always tinkering with stuff. And I think I got that from my dad. My dad was a tinkerer. He was always doing something. I remember one time he managed to build a battery charger with some scrap components that he found in the garage, and as well as I think the neighbor was throwing out a TV or something like that and various other things. And he took it all, and a week later, magically, there was this battery charger and stuff like that. So I was always around something tinkery wise. I was always playing with something, building something, creating something, building forts, driving my mom crazy. So it was in me. And it was at that point, my mom, probably right around 8, 9 years old, she would always say something, you're going to be an inventor. You're going to be an engineer. You're going to design something. You're always messing with something, playing with something. And it was, I don't know, probably right around 9 or 10, my mom started giving me little chores around the house, fix a light switch or fix a plug or something simple like that, to where I could figure things out and get things done, build a little table. And that's basically where it started. My mom put the bug in my ear as far as being an inventor, designing something, coming up with ideas. And my dad himself was a tinkerer, and his trade was welding. And he was a really good welder. He'd done some pretty hairy things, like really crazy things that he welded on. I think I got a lot of that from him, the curiosity, and then the reinforcement from my mom. Now enter my early teens, and my love of knights and, I don't know, ancient war and warfares and the Romans and the Greeks and the Spartans and all that other stuff really started to itch me. And I really wanted to learn how to make swords and knives and armor and all that other stuff. So by the time I was roughly 16, I had an anvil, I had oxyacetylene tanks, I had all sorts of hammers and tongs and a forge, and I was making things. I started out making things like tables, little metal tables, candle holders, iconography, all sorts of other stuff, like artistic wise. I learned how to blacksmith and form metal, how to coat metal and temper it and harden it and all these other things. So by the time I was 18 or 19, I had done an immense amount of research, going to libraries, going to bookstores, finding anybody within, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hour drive that had blacksmithing knowledge to go apprentice with them on the weekend, ask questions, learn as much as I can. My passion was my hobby, and my hobby was making things at that time. So by the time I was 20, I had learned all sorts of things about the properties of metals and the different types of metals and what you can do with them. No, you can't do that with aluminum. Yes, you can do that with wrought iron, but not a mid iron or mid steel, soft steel like a 1018 or something like that. Or yes, you can do that with stainless, but it's extremely ductile and it resists change. So you're going to have to hammer it and heat it and do all sorts of other things. So there was a lot of things that I learned by the time I was 20 because of my hobby, which was making things out of metal, knife making, sword making, chainmail making, anything related to that medieval phase in Europe, we'll say Japan, Middle East, all of that stuff was on the table. It was very interesting to me. And in fact, some of my family members and friends still have my pieces that I used to make, especially like candle holders, laying around, or they still use these things that I made like, I don't know, gosh, almost 40 years ago in some cases. So I learned so much from doing that, having that kind of a passion, and it carried on into the stuff that I do with design and engineering. And I'm so grateful for it. I still have all my old tools, still have my forge, still have all my anvils and hammers, because someday when I step away from the computer, I'm going to go back into making things like that because it's, for me, just fun. I really enjoy a cold day with a hot forge, right? There's just something about it. There's that tactile feel, that real tactile, like you're hitting the metal and you know it's just the right temperature and things are moving, and the heat that you feel when you go to take the bar out of the forge and you're just seeing the carbon crackle all over the steel. There's something about it that's just, to me, it's magical. And I often miss those days of creating things in that fashion. But like I said, I've taken that energy and turned it into CAD and design, and that's where I'm at now. Now enter my early 20s. I got a job at a shop as a prototype shop, and everything in there was done manually. There was no CNC anything anywhere. They had Bridgeports and Cincinnati mills, and then they had all sorts of lathes. I remember the hard hinge that they had running in there and various other things. And they also had big, gigantic presses where you put a big, giant die in it and rams down and you make sheet metal parts. They had several of those. I remember the big one was, I think, 100-ton. And I learned all about measuring tools and how to indicate things in and how to set tools into a big giant press, and then how to change a 3-jaw chuck in a lathe to a 4-jaw chuck in a lathe, and why you would want to do those kinds of things. And then once you made your parts, you would take your parts and go to qual, and then you would qualify them and inspect them and make sure that they're the right size and all sorts of other things. We made tools for those presses, giant sheet metal parts. I remember making tools for expanded foam parts or thermoforming or anything like that. I also remember lots of mill time running on a Bridgeport. How do you set up the vise and what are the directions, the X, Y, and the Z, and if you needed a 4th or a 5th axis, because you could get those kinds of things on a Bridgeport. But you needed sometimes another vise, a rotary, something that spins, or you could also take the head of the Bridgeport and put it at an angle. So you had 4 or 5 axes there, even 6 depending on the machine, because the head could tilt in different directions. And I learned all of that, I don't know, 21-ish, right around that age. And I worked there for quite a while, about almost a year, and learned all sorts of tricks and hints, fabrication, how to weld. So the importance of using the right kind of welding rod, the difference between TIG welding and MIG welding and heliarc and oxyacetylene and cutting and all sorts of other stuff. So that was fun. I learned an incredible amount, especially the inspection stuff, right? That how do you make something and then inspect it, and then the drawing, how do you make a drawing that makes sense for the purposes of machining it and then inspecting it, that kind of thing. And then after I quit that, I got a job doing construction for about 6 months, I remember that. And I learned how to run electrical and plumbing. And by the time I was, in my early 30s, I had built decks. Mind you, this is all on my own. I had replumbed several houses. We're talking from the water main through the rest of the house, complete replumbing, electrical, switching out panels, and all sorts of other stuff. I done quite a few projects on the home, and I've done complete bathrooms and kitchens and all sorts of stuff over the years. I took that with me. And then after that, my next job was building wiring harnesses for cars. Initially, I got into the company and they were using me to actually build the harnesses, put the table out, roll out the big giant print and put the nails in at all the splices and put the nails in at all of the forks and put in the connectors and then running all the wires and soldering everything and terminating everything and etc. and getting your wire and all that other stuff. And they found out quickly that I already knew how to do almost everything that they wanted. So in short order, they took me and stuck me in the front office as an engineering tech, basically going on site to places like, at the time, Chrysler, and doing the measurements on the vehicle and figuring out where the wiring harnesses are going to go and figuring out the types of wires that were necessary. So by the time I was, 24, I had been doing wiring harnesses for now almost a couple of years. I was pretty much designing them and engineering them on my own for quite a while. I just had a knack for it, probably because I had done so many other things in that assembly field. And it is from there I learned all about CAD, watching some of the people work in some of the locations at the Chryslers, different locations at some of our OEM suppliers that we did work for, going in there, seeing them run CATIA or AutoCAD or whatever at the time. And that's one of the things that piqued my interest in CAD. First, I want to say thank you if you've made it this far. Really appreciate it. Now, if you would subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and of course, share this with anybody that you think might be interested. And on a final note, if you have any comments or questions, please feel free to leave them down below or ask away. Thanks again. Now enter Unigraphics 10. And that is where I first learned computer-aided design. I got into CAD, the old Unix boxes, Unigraphics 10. I had taken a class, an 80-hour class. It was right around the time that they were transitioning to Unigraphics 11. My first job was actually in Unigraphics 11 at a General Motors facility. I had bounced around a couple of jobs doing Unigraphics at that time. All of them were related to General Motors. Eventually, I got into their learning center, which was a part of the Knowledge Center, which was a part of their General Motors University teaching. And during that time, now it's 97, 98, GM is making the transition to make Unigraphics their sole CAD system, primary CAD system, I should say. They had hundreds, if not thousands, of people to train in multiple locations, and I was a part of that effort. We were taking people for weeks on end and making them Unigraphics designers. They were using CGS or CATIA or some permutation of AutoCAD or whatever it was, and then bringing them all into UG. I had worked at the Knowledge Center a couple of different times, Learning Center, or General Motors University, probably a combination of 4 years, 5 years total. So I had learned an incredible amount about Unigraphics from the experts that took me through the various permutations of Unigraphics, from being a non-parametric system to having parameters to new methods that are being developed based on the updates in the tools and so on. So I had learned a lot, and I've always been good at cross-referencing my prior knowledge from manufacturing into design and engineering. With that, that spawned a career that is now going in CAD for nearly 30 years. So I've been at this quite a while, and I still enjoy it.